Even if the baby isn't yours, you're still going to be his father, my fiancée said without flinching, as if I'd happily raise another man's child without asking questions. But she had no idea what I just heard in the kitchen. I'm still shaking as I write this. My wedding is supposed to be in 6 weeks, and I just discovered my entire life is a lie. Some background. Amber and I have been together for 2 years. She got pregnant about 8 months ago, and I proposed immediately because I wanted to do right by our family. She seemed hesitant at first but eventually said yes. I thought she was just overwhelmed. I should have trusted my gut. I work in IT making decent money and have great health insurance through my company. Amber works part-time at a boutique, but her income is inconsistent. When she got pregnant, I told her not to worry about money, I'd take care of everything. I've been paying for her prenatal care, buying baby stuff, covering her rent. I even put her on my insurance as soon as we got engaged. Yesterday I came home early to surprise her with dinner. I heard voices from the kitchen and was about to announce myself when I heard her talking to her sister Harper. What I heard next made my blood turn to ice. "I can't believe you're actually going through with marrying him," Harper was saying. "Look, Ethan's stable and has amazing insurance. The baby needs that. Jason sure as hell can't provide it." My stomach dropped through the floor. Jason is this guy from her work that she claimed was just a friend. I'd always felt weird about him, but she insisted I was being paranoid. "But you don't love Ethan," Harper said. "This is so fucked up." "I care about him, that's enough. And honestly, he's so eager to please that he'll never question anything. He just accepts whatever I tell him." Amber laughed, actually laughed. "Jason doesn't even know the baby is his. He thinks we were careful." I stood there for maybe 10 minutes listening to them plan my entire future. How she'd keep seeing Jason after we were married. How she'd make sure I never found out. How she'd already coached Harper on what to say if I ever asked questions. I quietly left and drove around for hours. I couldn't process what I'd heard. This woman I've been planning to spend my life with, who I've been supporting financially and emotionally, sees me as nothing more than a provider. A mark. I'm back home now and she's acting completely normal. Showing me baby clothes she bought today with my credit card, talking about wedding details, asking if I'm excited to be a dad soon. Every word feels like a knife. The worst part, I actually started doubting myself. Like maybe I misheard or misunderstood. That's how good she is at this. Even knowing the truth, part of me wants to believe her version because it's easier than accepting I've been living a lie. I haven't slept. I can't eat. I keep staring at this engagement ring I spent 3 months' salary on and feeling sick. She's in the shower right now, probably texting Jason, and she has no idea her whole charade is about to collapse. I need advice. Do I confront her immediately? Do I gather evidence first? I'm scared she'll just deny everything and gaslight me into believing I imagined it all. She's already so good at making me question my own perceptions. What would you do? Edit. Holy shit, this blew up. I can't respond to everyone, but I'm reading every comment. The consensus seems to be document everything and get legal advice before confronting her. You're right. I need to protect myself here. To everyone asking, yes, I'm certain about what I heard. I recorded the last part on my phone once I realized what was happening. My hands were shaking so bad I almost dropped it, but I got enough. For those asking about Jason, he's 32, works at the same boutique as her, married with a kid already. His wife has no idea about any of this. Update 1. Posted 2 weeks ago after my last post. I couldn't just sit there pretending everything was normal. That night I told Amber I was going to stay at my brother's place because I needed space to think about wedding stress. She bought it completely, even seemed relieved. I spent the next few days gathering evidence. I made copies of all the financial records showing how much I'd spent on her and the baby. I documented every text message, every photo she'd posted with dates. I even found old conversations where she'd mentioned Jason way more than she'd ever admitted to me. The smoking gun was her phone. She left it unlocked while showering, and I found months of messages with Jason. Not just affair stuff, they were planning their future together, talking about how they'd handle things after the wedding and how they'd find a way to be together without causing financial disruption. She literally referred to me as the safety net. But here's the part that really fucked me up. She'd been lying to Jason too. She told him she was on birth control. He had no idea she'd gotten pregnant on purpose. She was playing both of us, but in different ways. I also called my sister-in-law bait, who's a family lawyer. She connected me with a colleague who specializes in paternity fraud. Apparently, what Amber's doing is more common than I thought, and the legal system actually has ways to protect men in my situation. The lawyer advised me to get a prenatal paternity test before doing anything else. It's more expensive than waiting until after birth, but it would give me concrete proof. I arranged it through my doctor under the guise of wanting to be prepared for any genetic issues. When the results came back yesterday, I wasn't surprised. 0% probability that I'm the father. Seeing it in black and white, though, that was when it really hit me. This woman had been planning to fraud me into raising another man's child for the rest of my life. I called Amber and asked her to meet me for dinner at our usual place. She was all excited, thinking I was going to surprise her with something wedding-related. She even dressed up and did her hair. The conversation went like this. "Amber, I need to ask you something directly and I need you to be honest with me." "Of course, baby. What's wrong? You look stressed. Is there anything about this pregnancy you haven't told me?" I watched her face change. Just for a second she looked panicked, then she put on this concerned expression. "What do you mean, Ethan? You're scaring me. I know about Jason." The color drained from her face completely. She started stammering, trying to figure out how much I knew. "I don't. What about Jason? He's just a coworker, you know that." "I have the paternity test results, Amber. I know the baby isn't mine." She sat there in silence for maybe 30 seconds. Then she started crying, but they weren't real tears. I could tell she was calculating her next move. "Ethan, please let me explain. It's not what you think." "So explain." "Jason and we made a mistake. One time, I was confused about my feelings and you and I were fighting and it just happened, but I chose you. I'm marrying you because I love you." Even knowing everything I knew, part of me wanted to believe her. That's how deep the manipulation went. "One time, Amber, I've seen the messages. I heard you talking to Harper." That's when the mask completely came off. The crying stopped immediately and she got this cold look I'd never seen before. "You went through my phone. You fucking recorded me. You've been planning to commit paternity fraud and you're mad about privacy. This is ridiculous. Even if the baby isn't biologically yours, you're still going to be his father. We're getting married in a month. I'm not letting you destroy our family over some technicality." The audacity was breathtaking. She actually tried to frame it like I was the one being unreasonable. "There's not going to be a wedding, Amber." That's when she completely lost it. Started screaming in the restaurant about how I was abandoning my child, how I was destroying her life, how she'd make sure everyone knew what kind of man I really was. I left her there and drove straight to the wedding venue to cancel everything. Lost the deposit, but honestly it felt like the best money I'd ever spent. She's been calling and texting nonstop since then. First begging, then threatening, then begging again. This morning she showed up at my apartment crying, saying she'd leave Jason and we could work it out. When I wouldn't let her in, she threatened to sue me for child support anyway. The lawyer says that's not how it works, especially with the evidence I have. But I'm still scared. This woman is capable of anything. I also reached out to Jason's wife through Facebook. She deserves to know what her husband has been doing. Haven't heard back yet, but I sent her screenshots of enough messages to make it clear. I feel like I'm in some kind of nightmare. 3 weeks ago, I thought I was about to become a husband and father. Now I'm realizing the last 2 years of my life were based on complete lies. But honestly, for the first time in months, I can breathe. I didn't realize how much stress I'd been carrying until it was gone. Edit. To everyone asking about the recording, it's legal in my state as long as one party consents. I was that party. Jason's wife messaged me back. She wants to meet. Apparently this isn't Jason's first affair and she's been suspicious for months. Update 2. Posted 1 week ago. Holy shit, you guys. This situation has escalated beyond anything I could have imagined. First, the meeting with Jason's wife, I'll call her Rachel, was eye-opening. She brought her own evidence of Jason's affairs. Apparently, Amber isn't his first rodeo. Rachel hired a private investigator months ago because she suspected something. She had photos of Jason and Amber together, hotel receipts, the works. But here's the kicker. Rachel has been suspicious of Jason for months and hired that pie for a reason. She's been documenting everything to make sure she gets a good settlement in the divorce. Meanwhile, Amber has completely lost her mind. When her attempts to manipulate me back into the relationship failed, she went nuclear. She's been telling everyone who will listen that I abandoned my pregnant fiancée. She posted on Facebook about how I'm a deadbeat who walked out on my family. She even had the audacity to set up a GoFundMe for single mother struggling after abandonment. My family knows the truth, but some mutual friends have been giving me cold looks. It's amazing how quickly people assume the man is the villain in these situations. But Amber's biggest mistake was threatening me legally. She had some bottom-tier lawyer send me a demand letter claiming I owe child support regardless of paternity because I accepted the father role. My lawyer literally laughed when he read it. That's when we went on the offensive. See, what Amber doesn't realize is that paternity fraud is a serious crime in my state. It's not just a civil matter. She could face actual charges. My lawyer sent her a response that basically said, "Our client has proof that you knowingly attempted to deceive him into believing he was the father of a child that is not his, with the intent to defraud him financially. Cease all contact or face criminal charges." She backed off the child support threats real quick after that. But the best part, we also sent a legal notice to Jason informing him that he's the biological father and will be responsible for child support. His lawyer contacted us trying to demand proof, so we provided the paternity test results. 2 days after Jason got served, Amber showed up at my apartment. Not crying this time, she was angry. Furious, actually. When I opened the door, the woman standing there was barely recognizable. The polished, manipulative Amber was gone. This was someone desperate and cornered. "We need to talk, now." She pushed past me into the apartment, the same apartment where she used to curl up next to me on the couch. Now she looked around like she was cataloging what she'd lost. "You can't do this to Jason. He has a family." "Had a family," I corrected. "And yes, I can. The baby is his responsibility, not mine." "But you don't understand. He can't afford child support right now. His wife is taking everything in the divorce." The audacity was breathtaking. She was actually asking me to consider Jason's financial situation. "That's not my problem, Amber. You two made your choices. Deal with the consequences." That's when she switched tactics. The anger melted away, and suddenly she was the vulnerable pregnant woman again. "Ethan, I know I made mistakes. Huge mistakes, but we can fix this. We can still be a family." "No, we can't." "Why not? You loved me. I know you did, and I do care about you. Maybe I didn't show it the right way, but no." I cut her off calm and clear. "You don't care about me. What you care about is the insurance, the paycheck, and whether I was stupid enough to raise someone else's kid without asking questions." The words came out colder than I intended, but they needed to be said. She flinched like I'd slapped her. She started crying then. I was scared. I didn't know what else to do. That's when her mask slipped completely. The desperation poured out. "Do you have any idea what it's like to be completely dependent on someone else? To know that if they leave, you have nothing. I needed security, Ethan. I needed to know my baby would be okay." "So you committed fraud." She was sobbing now, but it felt different from her usual calculated tears. This was raw panic. "Please, I'm begging you. Drop the legal case. Take me back. We can make this work. I'll change. I'll cut contact with Jason completely. We can raise the baby together and no one ever has to know." I looked at this woman who had controlled my emotions for 2 years, who had made me doubt my own perceptions, who had planned to steal 18 years of my life. And I felt nothing. No anger, no sadness, no sympathy. Just a cold clarity I'd never experienced before. "Amber, look at me." She looked up, mascara streaked, waiting for me to cave like I always had before. I will never take you back. I will never raise Jason's child. And if you contact me again outside of court-ordered proceedings, I will file a restraining order. Her face went through about 5 different emotions in 2 seconds. Shock, anger, disbelief, and finally, resignation. You've changed. No, I just stopped letting you tell me who I am. She stood there for another minute, maybe hoping I'd break. But I simply opened the door and waited. She walked past me, then turned back one last time. Fine, but don't come crying to me when you realize what you've thrown away. Good men don't abandon pregnant women, Ethan. Everyone's going to see what kind of person you really are. Let them. The people who matter know the truth. I closed the door and locked it. Then I sat on my couch and realized my hands weren't shaking. My heart wasn't racing. For the first time in months, I felt completely calm. That was the moment I knew I was really free. But apparently I still underestimated the audacity of these people. Jason called me yesterday. Actually called me, can you believe it? He was crying, begging me not to ruin his life. Apparently Rachel filed for divorce the day after I sent her those messages, armed with months of evidence from her private investigator. Ethan, man, please. I didn't know she was trying to trap you. I thought you two were happy. So that made it okay to sleep with my fiancé. We can work something out. I'll pay you back for all the medical expenses, the baby stuff. Just don't make me pay ongoing support. My wife is taking everything in the divorce. The entitlement was unreal. He wanted me to take financial responsibility for his child so he wouldn't have to. Jason, I'm not paying for your kid. Figure it out with Amber. He actually suggested the 3 of us sit down and come to an arrangement. Like we're all going to co-parent his affair baby together. I hung up on him. The legal stuff is moving fast now. My lawyer filed paperwork to officially establish that I have no parental rights or responsibilities for this child. We're also pursuing reimbursement for all the money I spent on prenatal care and baby expenses, around $12,000 total. Amber tried one more manipulation tactic. She showed up at my work yesterday, huge pregnant belly on display, crying loudly in the lobby about how I'm abandoning my son. Security had to escort her out. She was counting on public pressure to make me cave, but it just made her look unhinged. My boss actually pulled me aside after to make sure I was okay. Apparently several coworkers had approached him worried about my situation. When I explained what was really happening, he was shocked. He even connected me with the company's legal department to make sure this doesn't affect my job. The weirdest part is how free I feel. Yes, this is stressful and expensive, but I keep thinking about the alternative. I almost married this woman. I almost spent the next 18 years paying for Jason's kid while Amber continued manipulating both of us. Harper, Amber's sister, actually reached out to apologize. She said she knew it was wrong, but Amber convinced her I would never find out and everyone would be happy. She's willing to testify about the conversations she heard if it comes to that. Even my family is amazed at how I'm handling this. My brother said he's never seen me this decisive about anything. Turns out having your entire reality destroyed forces you to grow a backbone pretty quick. Next week is when my wedding was supposed to be. Instead, I'm meeting with lawyers to finalize the legal separation from this mess. Amber still has my ring, she refuses to give it back, but honestly she can keep it. Consider it payment for the most expensive life lesson I've ever received. Edit. Yes, I'm in therapy now. My brother's wife Bate recommended someone who specializes in trauma from manipulative relationships. Apparently this stuff can mess with your head long term. For those asking about the GoFundMe, it got taken down after people started posting the truth in the comments. Apparently fraud is against their terms of service. Who knew? Rachel's lawyer contacted mine. She wants to coordinate our cases since we're both going after Jason for different kids. This is getting complicated. Final update. Posted 3 days ago. Well, Reddit, this wild ride is finally over, and I wanted to give you all closure since you've been with me through this insanity. First off, thank you to everyone who supported me through this nightmare. The messages, advice, and even the people sharing their own similar stories helped me realize I wasn't alone in this kind of manipulation. This community literally saved my sanity. So here's how everything wrapped up. My lawyer is a goddamn wizard. We got everything we wanted and more. Jason is now legally established as the father and will be paying child support. The court also ordered Jason to reimburse me for all pregnancy and baby-related expenses I paid. That's $12,347.83 coming back to me, plus legal fees. His divorce settlement with Rachel means he's basically broke, but the judgment follows him until it's paid. Amber's life has completely imploded, and honestly, it's entirely self-inflicted. The Facebook posts and GoFundMe thing backfired spectacularly when the truth came out. Her own family is barely speaking to her after they learned she was planning to commit fraud. She lost her job at the boutique. Apparently showing up screaming at your ex-fiancé's workplace doesn't look good for business. Jason got fired too when his affair became public knowledge. Harper, her sister, actually reached out to thank me for freeing the family from Amber's lies. Turns out this isn't Amber's first attempt at manipulation. She's been pulling similar schemes since high school. Harper said watching me stand up to her was the push the family needed to stop enabling her behavior. Jason's divorce from Rachel is final. She got the house, primary custody of their kid, and half his $401K. He's now living with his parents and working at a call center. Rachel and I have actually become friends through this process. We're both dealing with the trauma of being manipulated by people we trusted, and it helps having someone who truly understands what that feels like. The funniest part, Jason tried to get back together with Amber after his divorce was finalized. She rejected him because he can't provide the stability she needs for her son. She literally planned her entire manipulation around getting his baby a stable father figure, then rejected him when he became financially responsible for that same baby. You can't make this stuff up. I'm in a completely different headspace than I was 3 weeks ago. The therapy has been incredibly helpful. I'm learning about manipulation tactics, trauma bonding, and how to trust my instincts again. Turns out I wasn't paranoid about Jason. I wasn't overthinking Amber's weird behaviors. My gut was right about everything, but I'd been trained to ignore it in favor of keeping the peace. Never again. I'm dating again, which feels surreal. There's a woman from my therapy group who's become a good friend, and we're taking things very slowly. She went through something similar with an ex-husband who was embezzling from their joint accounts while gaslighting her about their finances. We understand each other's trust issues. The financial recovery has been better than expected. Getting that $12K back plus not having to pay for a wedding I didn't want basically puts me ahead of where I was before I met Amber. I'm looking at buying a house next year, something I never could have done while supporting her. Amber had a son 2 weeks ago. Jason's name is on the birth certificate and he's paying support, but he's not involved beyond the legal minimum. Amber is basically a single mother, which is exactly what she was trying to avoid by manipulating me. I feel bad for the kid. He didn't ask for any of this. But I also know that me staying in that situation wouldn't have helped him. It would have just taught him that manipulation and lies are normal in relationships. But the truth always has a way of coming out eventually. In my case, it saved me from wasting my entire life on someone who never loved me. I'm done with updates after this. Time to focus on building a real life with real people who actually care about me. Thanks for the journey, Reddit. You guys are fucking amazing. Edit. To the people saying I should have fought for my family, that wasn't my family. My family is the people who love and support me, not the people who lie to and manipulate me.